It has been a crazy week for gaming. Not only did we see the return of OG Fortnite as a now permanent game mode, we also saw the full release of the hit new hero shooter, Marvel Rivals. And can I just say, I've been loving every second of it. Well, mostly every second. More on that later. But my main focus for this video is explaining how Marvel Rivals has revived my love for multiplayer games. When I say multiplayer games, I really just mean multiplayer shooter games. Obviously there are plenty more multiplayer games of different genres, but those scratch a different itch compared to these team-based shooter games. I'm strictly referring to those types of games for this video. Understood? Okay. So, a brief history and rundown of Marvel Rivals. Developed and published by Chinese studio NetEase Games, who have done smaller Marvel projects in the past, as well as other games like Naraka, Blade Point, and Dead by Daylight Mobile. Marvel Rivals is a brand new, free-to-play, 6v6 hero shooter featuring over 30 beloved Marvel characters, and it has taken the gaming world by storm. It has surpassed 10 million players across all platforms in less than 72 hours of launch, with over 400,000 players currently online and playing on Steam as I'm saying this sentence. Everyone's eyes are on this game right now, and everyone is giving it a try. A game like this has so much appeal. The concept sells itself. Who wouldn't love a Marvel hero shooter? And it genuinely has the potential to remain massive. That's how I currently feel about it, at least. So, I just said that this game has restored my love for multiplayer shooter games, and I'll go more into why I think that is a little later, but I really didn't think it would have this profound of an impact on me. I'm sure some of you can attest to this, but I have grown so tired and uninterested in basically all multiplayer shooter games, with the exception of like Fortnite because it is so much more than just a battle royale game at this point. But this feeling of frustration applies especially to the hero shooter or tactical shooter archetype of games. This last year I've been playing mainly single player games, and it has just been a much more pleasant and fulfilling experience than playing something like Rainbow Six Siege or Overwatch or Valorant, and the list goes on. Sometimes it's the player base, other times it is the decisions of the company behind the game, and sometimes it might just be the game unwilling or failing to change or adapt to preserve its novelty. It could also go the opposite way, with the game changing for the worse and ruining what made it so good in the first place. And why am I just describing Overwatch? Look, I get it. Game development is hard, and you for sure cannot please everyone, especially for a team-based shooter game. There are so many little things that contribute to the flow of gameplay in these games and how the majority of players receive it, whether it be character or weapon balances, map layouts, keeping new content fair and balanced but also exciting, addressing player feedback, bug fixes and optimization, monetization, all of it. And some of these poor decisions aren't coming from the game developers. They could be coming from the out-of-touch higher-ups in whatever company they're a part of, who have more leverage in what goes in the game. I feel like some people don't fully acknowledge all the moving parts that affect the development of this type of game, so I just wanted to shed some light on that topic. That is just my take on all that stuff, and I'm sure you guys have your opinions on this as well. You kind of have to go through it on a case-by-case basis because there are different things affecting the health of each game. But let's get back to Marvel Rivals. Prior to fully releasing, it had closed alpha and beta tests earlier this year, which I had the opportunity to play. And if I'm being honest, when I first saw the gameplay of Marvel Rivals in its pre-alpha stage, I wasn't really impressed. It was a combination of me thinking it looked like a mobile game, and that it played too close to Overwatch. I mean, some people still think those things, but my mind was immediately changed after playing the game. The game's aesthetic is actually so appealing. It is stylized, vibrant, comic booky, with smooth animation and a lot of love for the source material. When I first saw the gameplay, it was on some crappy low-res Instagram reel, and that's why I thought it looked cheap. But just taking one look at the cinematics, the skins, the MVP animations, and the gameplay, it'll show the amount of passion poured into this game. The passion for the Marvel IP, for hero shooters, for just making a fun game, and especially the passion for battle passes, because we all love battle passes. I actually don't mind the battle pass in the game. The monetization is relatively modest. None of the heroes are behind paywalls. They're all available to play right at the start of the game. The only things that cost money are purely cosmetic, and you're also able to earn some free cosmetics and accumulate the in-game currency through just playing the game. I mean, I think some of the skins are overpriced, but it doesn't bother me too much since it's all purely cosmetic. By the way, use this code on screen to receive a free Iron Man skin if you haven't done so yet. But some of these skins are fantastic. Many of them are from comic book appearances or how these characters appear in the MCU movies, and some of them are just Marvel Rivals originals. It all shows respect for the source material of these characters, which makes you want to buy them. Now, as far as the game playing too close to Overwatch, obviously yes, this game has many similarities to Overwatch. I don't think it's a bad thing, and I feel like the game does enough to differentiate itself from other games in its genre, but you cannot ignore the resemblance to Overwatch. From the objectives, UI, sound effects, role system of tanks, DPS, and healers, the bright and cartoony art style, and obviously the playstyles of certain characters, Marvel Rivals pulls a lot of inspiration from Overwatch. It's not like Overwatch is the originator of this type of game. You can trace that at least as far back as 1999 with Team Fortress Classic, but Overwatch definitely revolutionized this genre when it came out in 2016, and is typically considered the hero shooter game. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing Marvel Rivals took so much inspiration from Overwatch. That's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted it to feel familiar. They knew how massive of an audience this type of game had. They knew that a large portion of that audience were not happy with Overwatch 2. They also knew why people weren't happy with Overwatch 2, so they wouldn't make those same mistakes. If they deliver that audience a similar product with their own twist, backed by one of the largest and most expansive intellectual properties in the world, they will be an immediate success, which is what NetEase Games and Marvel did. And that is one of the main reasons so many players are loving Marvel Rivals right now. It takes you back. It reminds you of when Overwatch first came out in 2016, how fresh and unique it was, how you have this colorful cast of iconic characters, each with entirely different playstyles and abilities, and you want to play all of them. How diverse the team compositions can get, and how addicting the gameplay was. That is what made Overwatch a huge success, and that is what's happening to Marvel Rivals now. But it's honestly even better for Rivals, because it's entirely Marvel property. These are characters people already know and love. The game pulls you in with the Marvel IP, and it keeps you hooked with the gameplay. There's no shortage of heroes and villains to pick from in the Marvel Universe. This game could go on forever. But those feelings I was just describing, that was exactly how I felt first playing Overwatch on my PlayStation 4 in 2017. And that is how I feel playing Marvel Rivals now. And I'm not alone in that. My friends, as well as plenty of other people online, have all said the same thing. It's just honestly so refreshing. It's kind of like what's happening with Fortnite bringing back the Chapter 1 Season 1 map and loot pool. It is bringing you back to a point when you experience something new and exciting for the very first time. This type of thing will work every single time. It's the nostalgia for it all. We're always chasing those feelings we once felt for these games. It can come from Fortnite literally taking you back to the beginning, or you can have Marvel Rivals giving you something new while also simulating those feelings you had for something else. We literally had Overwatch 2 introduce a limited time mode that basically made the game Overwatch 1 again, making it 6v6 again with only the classic heroes and their old abilities, which worked. I personally didn't play it. I've just grown frustrated with the decisions behind Overwatch 2 these last couple of years. I feel like this was a desperate move on Blizzard's part to regain what they once had and to earn back the playtime of many lost players, but I know this tactic worked. My friends hopped back on for a brief time, a lot of streamers were playing again, and it generally just received a lot of traction online. But Marvel Rivals has an opportunity to remain a powerhouse among hero shooters. NetEase and Marvel have something special on their hands, so let's get into that. So yes, this game plays closely to Overwatch. From the objectives being capturing the point or escorting the payload, to the similar character roles and playstyles, if you've played Overwatch, you'd feel right at home in Marvel Rivals. And like I said, the similarity between the two games is not a bad thing, and the gameplay is far from one-to-one. Looking at the gameplay in this video, probably the first thing you notice different in Marvel Rivals is the third-person point of view. Overwatch primarily plays in first person, and I think that gives more incentive to get the cosmetics in Marvel Rivals. You can actually see and appreciate the look of the characters and the cosmetics you buy. Also, the gameplay just feels much more fast-paced in Marvel Rivals than Overwatch, which I really like. So much is happening at all times in this game. The environments on the maps are also destructible. I mean, not every single thing, but enough to create new and unique possibilities in each match. You can destroy vantage points and enemy cover, or create your own openings. It can honestly be leveraged to do some insane plays or turn the tides of the match. I personally really like this mechanic. Now, one of the most interesting things Marvel Rivals does in its gameplay is the team-up mechanic, where certain character combinations in a match can activate unique buffs and abilities for those characters. One example of a team-up is between Rocket, Punisher, and Winter Soldier, where Rocket can place a beacon that gives Punisher and Winter Soldier infinite ammo and a faster fire rate when they stand in its radius. Another one is between Venom, Spider-Man, and Penny Parker, where Venom gives Spider-Man and Penny a special symbiote ability that deals damage and knockback. A pretty funny team-up involves Hulk and Wolverine, where Hulk can pick up Wolverine with one hand and launch him into battle. So I think you get the gist of team-ups. It is such a cool mechanic that promotes team cooperation, and I think they struck a good balance in incorporating them into the game. None of them feel super overpowered, and they aren't necessary to run, at least in casual games, but they add another layer of nuance into the gameplay that you also cannot ignore. Something else that I feel NetEase did really well is making each character feel good and fun to play. Now, I haven't had too much time with every character, but I've enjoyed each of their playstyles. You have your dive characters to push the objective and divert attention, your bulky tanks to protect the team, your insane healers, you have your backline sniper heroes, your traditional run and gun shooter characters, your in and out melee characters who invade the enemy backline and take out their support. There's a hero for every playstyle. They also have many veteran voice actors for these characters reprising their roles in this game, which is just the cherry on top of their character design. There are 33 heroes currently playable, with even more leaked to arrive in the game at some point. We should apparently expect Blade, Ultron, the Fantastic Four, Captain Marvel, Hitmonkey, and more. Some characters I'd like to see arrive in the game would be Ghost Rider, Carnage as a DPS symbiote character, Deadpool, Dracula so Moon Knight can get his goddamn money, Dr. Octopus, Domino, Taskmaster, and like Howard the Duck, I don't know. You guys let me know some of your top character picks in the comments. So, I've been hyping up the game a lot in this video, but it is certainly not without its flaws. As far as character balance goes, I don't think anyone is necessarily bad, but some characters are very good. I've seen a few tier lists for this game and they've all been very different, which I think shows that the character balance is pretty solid. It could also be because the game is very new and we're all still figuring out the meta, so I guess we'll see what changes as we go. But I think characters like Wolverine and Black Widow are just alright, and some others like Mantis, Luna Snow, Winter Soldier, and Hela are insane. I'll do a quick tier list of all the characters in just a minute, and I obviously cannot go without mentioning Jeff the Land Shark's ultimate. The radius on this thing is just insane. It covers the whole objective. What he does is swallows anyone caught in his ultimate, to which then most players will swim toward the nearest ledge and spit everyone out, often killing all of them. Jeff is an alright character otherwise, but his ultimate is just too cheesy. I suggest reducing the radius by like a third and then putting an indicator as to where he will ult right before he emerges from the water. Or maybe I'm just bad, I don't know. Also, this isn't exactly a complaint, but healing in this game is insane. It is so hard to get kills sometimes because healers are so powerful and effective in this game. You could be near death and be back to full in less than a second. If you have Luna Snow and Mantis on your team, you'll be alright, like, you're not dying. Other than balance, this game does have some performance and optimization issues. Doctor Strange's portal still tanks my frames on a brand new high-end PC, and the performance seems just to be okay at best on more mid to low-end PCs. I've also run into a lot of network errors of just being disconnected while loading into every other game for some reason. I don't think this is something on my end. I've got a great Ethernet connection, so let me know if you guys are experiencing this as well. While I haven't personally experienced it yet, my friends have had their games crash on a few occasions while playing, so something to look into there. And that seems to be the main reason why the game sits at roughly a 75% positive rating on Steam. People are complaining about the performance and optimization, which, fair enough, that's valid. But yeah, let's jump into a very fast, totally objective, legitimate tier list section that you all should definitely take as gospel. Alright guys, here's the super fast tier list. So Adam Warlock can revive your team, has good healing, can kind of stand on his own sometimes. A tier. Black Panther, really crazy combos, goes in and out. If you have a good Black Panther, then you're pretty good for the game. We'll put him S tier. Doctor Strange is the best tank in the game, probably absorbs a lot of damage. Has a good ult, stuns the whole enemy team. Is good in combination with other ults, does a lot of damage himself. S tier. Groot plays Fortnite, that's amazing. So we'll put him high B. Hela is probably just insane. Probably one of the best DPS, if not the best DPS. Just insane damage. It's crazy. Hulk, he's okay. I don't know really. I mean, he just dies. To be honest, he dives in and out, but doesn't do much to. There's better tanks. You know, Iron Man. If your team's not looking up, he's good, but he leaves himself very very vulnerable if he's up. And so I feel like there's a lot of other DPS you'd want to play. He does good damage, but he's kind of slow in the air and he leaves himself very vulnerable. We'll do C tier. Jeff, if it weren't for his ult, I'll put him B tier, but because of his ult, he's A. He has good healing too, but he's just a walking headshot hitbox. Loki, I really don't even know. He could steal other ults and he makes clones. His healing's okay, I just think. I'll put him with Iron Man. Luna Snow, she's probably one of the best healers in the game. S tier, her ult just basically negates everything that the enemies are trying to do. She could freeze people as well. Magic is annoying. She comes in and out of portals, can take out your support, has good damage. Not too much range, but her mobility makes up for it. I'll put her high B. Magneto, probably the next best tank. Does a lot of shielding, can apply shields to your team, and creates just big shields. Can block a lot of damage. I'll put him A tier. Mantis is probably the best support in the game. Does a lot of damage on her own. Not as much healing as Luna Snow, but they both have similar ults. So if they're paired together, you're basically just alive for the whole game. She could also sleep enemies, which is annoying. Namor could put turrets around fish guy with weird wing feet. I don't think he's super good, honestly. I'll put him low B. Penny Parker, she can set mines. I'm too stupid to destroy them, so I die. But other than that, I think she's just all right. Punisher, I think is kind of just like the de facto easy to pick up shooter character. Does good damage. He's just okay. I think there's better. They're better DPS out there, but yeah. Rocket, I'll put him with Groot. They're a duo, so that's yeah. He's pretty good with Punisher and Winter Soldier, but his healing's okay and his damage is mediocre, so that's fine. Scarlet Witch, easy to pick up and play. You don't have to aim. She could stun players, and her ult's pretty good if she's able to get it off, but it leaves her very vulnerable. I'll put her a little above Namor. Spider-Man's annoying, but if you're good with him, then he's very good. I don't think he doesn't have as high of a ceiling as Black Panther, I don't think. I'll put him A tier. Star-Lord, kind of similar thing. He's annoying. Can't go in and out as much, but he has the range for it. He has guns. Does a lot of damage. His ult's pretty good. I'll put him next to Spider-Man in A tier. Storm, I have not seen Storm. Like, I think she might be the least played character in the game, honestly. But I don't think she's very good, so I'll put her in C tier. Thor, he absorbs a lot of damage, can help push objectives. He has a good ult. You could pair it with like Doctor Strange's, is pretty good. I'll put him low A, and I'll put Captain America low A actually as well, because if they're together, they're pretty good. Yeah, so Captain America, he could throw on his shield, does good damage, runs around and dives on the enemy team. He could help push objectives. He has like kind of like a rally thing for his ult. He's okay. But him and Thor have a team up together, which kind of, if they're together, they're pretty good. And on their own, they're all right. I'll put him low A. Venom, I play Venom a lot. He's probably my main tank to play. He dives in and out. Doesn't do too much damage, but takes a lot of damage. He could armor himself, help push objectives. He could divert enemy attention. I'll put him B tier. I'll put him right next to Punisher. Winter Soldier is probably another S tier DPS. Just crazy damage, crazy ult. If he kills someone with the ult, he could do it again. And he could pull enemies in or push them away if he wants to with his charge. Moon Knight with the onks, and if the enemies are close together, insane damage output. I'll put him next to Spider-Man. Psylocke, I think she's another S tier DPS. Takes out your backline support. Has good damage on her own. Dashes in and out. Turns invisible. Let's see. Hawkeye, I put him top of A tier, honestly. He can one-shot, headshot most DPS and healers. You have to be very precise, though, and that's the only thing holding him back. But he could deflect projectiles and stuff. Has a double jump, good mobility. He's very solid. Wolverine, I don't know. He might be D tier. I don't know. Like I've died to him maybe twice, and he just leaves himself very vulnerable. Doesn't have the damage to compensate for it because he's only really good against tanks. But yeah, Squirrel Girl. I haven't seen too much of her. I'll just put her next to Punisher. I think she's just does decent damage. Iron Fist is annoying, similar vein to Spider-Man and stuff. Maybe not as good. I'll put him under Spider-Man in A tier. Black Widow. She can't one-shot headshot. Her weapon is hit scan, but if you get your shot off, your enemy is basically back to full HP because of how crazy healing is. So it just kind of negates anything you're trying to do. I'll put her in C tier. Cloak and Dagger. I haven't seen too much of them, but they've been annoying in matches where I have played against them. So I think they're pretty decent. I'll put them next to Jeff. And this is the tier list, guys. This is legit. You should totally take this as a very serious tier list, and you should, apply it to your gameplay. So this is very good. So this is the final version of the tier list. I moved some characters up, some characters down. Tried organizing within the tiers a bit better. Honestly, a lot of these can be, interchangeable within each tier. I didn't put too much attention into all that stuff, but I feel pretty good about it. I just did this for fun. I hardly have any playtime in like over half of these characters. Don't take anything I say very seriously. This is just my interpretation of where the characters are at right now in the tiers, and just you guys let me know your thoughts on this. And yeah, don't take that tier list too seriously. I didn't really even bother to order the characters within each tier. I thought it was just a fun thing to do. But those are just my thoughts on Marvel Rivals and why I have been loving it so far. It has been such a blast, and I hope NetEase and Marvel keep doing the right thing and listen to all of our feedback. I really want this game to keep going strong and continue to evolve. I'm excited to see who gets added into the game, how the meta develops, and what the potential esports tournaments are going to look like. We'll see where the game goes from here, but it has been fantastic so far. I may, however, start loving it less if I get thrown off the ledge by Jeff one more time. Seriously though, if you haven't played it yet, I really suggest giving it a try. You could play it on Steam, Epic Games, Xbox, and PlayStation. So now it's time to let me know your thoughts on Marvel Rivals. Tell me your experience with the game in the comments section. Is it just a fad? Will the game die out in a month? Or will it be an esports juggernaut for the foreseeable future? Share your thoughts with me in the comments, and please be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. It will help a ton to get the video pushed out to more people. And do consider subscribing to the channel, it would mean a lot to me. But other than that, I'd like to thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.